tell y'all, did you hear it? Did you know? It's Women's History Month, just in case you didn't know. And if you're watching the replay, guess what? It's Women's History Month. But y'all, I'm so excited about today. I'm so excited about what God is doing in our lives. I'm so excited about to see how women are showing up, how women are doing the doggone thing, how women are taking over the airwaves, how women are showing up for each other. It is so amazing just to see how women are growing. We are proving the point that women can work together. Doesn't have to be catty. It doesn't have to be stabbing you in the back. You ain't got to be rolling your eyes and rolling your neck. I am so excited about what women are doing. And I just wanted to drop this. Somebody needs to hear this because I have been dealing with this for a while. And you may have heard me say this before, but I needed to say it again. Know that you are a strong woman, regardless of your background, regardless of what you've been through, regardless of what people say about you or do towards you. Because remember, even Rahab had a bad rap, but she was important. If we didn't have Rahab, guess what? We wouldn't have Jesus. Did you know that Rahab is in the genealogy of Jesus? So that tells me just because you might have started out, I'm not going to say what I want to say because it might be a little ugly and you might take it the wrong way. But think about it. Just because you start out one way, you may have made some bad decisions in your past. You may have made some bad decisions right now in your present. You still have a plan and a purpose. Even like the woman in the well, she had a purpose. She had many husbands or boyfriends or concubines, whatever you want to call it for the man. But Jesus even said, Jesus, she had purpose to have Jesus be able to draw the line in the sand and say, you know, he that is without sin, let him cast the first stone. And see, that lets me know that nobody is perfect. Everybody has a purpose. Everybody has to have something. Even Elizabeth, think about it. Mary had to go to Elizabeth to get confirmation that she was carrying Jesus. You see where I'm going with this? We all have a purpose in life to do what God has called us to do and to truly show up for who we really are. Because when we show up as who we are, show up as our authentic selves, we change the world. Not only do we change ourselves, we change our surroundings, we change who we are, we change the world because we are showing up regardless of what has happened in our past, regardless of who said this, who said what, that. We are showing up and we are doing the doggone thing. And baby, you're going to look good doing it. All I tell you, make sure that inside is looking as good as that outside, because when you are that, you are rocking. And then you are the true boss that's showing up. Well, y'all, I hope that helps somebody that know that you are somebody, that you have a purpose, that you have a plan. Because remember what I say, look in the mirror and say, oh, girl, I tell you, look good. Y'all heard what I said. You better look and you better holler and you better say, hot tag, because that's what we gonna do, because we all getting ready to do the doggone thing. All right, y'all. Okay, so before I get too geeky, before I start acting like really bad, I got somebody on the show today. He's getting ready to shock you. Let me tell y'all, honey, let me tell you, I have been watching them for a very long time. And I said them, even though it's not a them anymore. And she is independent because, you know, it was just something about watching the show and I actually went to the restaurant, my cousin and I, and then I bought the cookbook. And so you couldn't tell me that I wasn't a cousin. So before I bring it on, because honey, I was trying all the recipes. You better tell somebody. I was showing up with the recipes on my cake plate like I made it up myself. Honey, I was the cousin that they didn't know. But today, y'all, in celebration of Women's History Month, in celebration of just being able to show how we can be survivors, no matter what we go through, no matter what is happening around us, y'all, I got my special guest in the studio with me today. It's none other than Miss, guess what? Get ready! Miss Gina Neely!
You're so funny.
I am so excited to have you on the show with me. Thank you for joining us here at Conversations with Deborah Franklin. I know that's real creative for a name of a show, but hey, I did that.
That's okay. Do you, as I say, do you, boo?
And you know, I just have to tell you one thing that used to make the show for me is when you would say, about the red crushed red pepper flakes. You got to get a little with it. Oh, that was my thing right there. I used to wait for that. I used to wait. I just want you to, and then now you are doing something new.
Mhm.
Tell the people about what you are doing new now, because I was all geeky about that too. Because I was like, oh my God, come on, honey, come
Yeah.
on. So
I was really blessed to start a job in my hometown. It's Love City Life with Gina Neely. It is a lifestyle show. We talk about everything that's good in the city. We highlight businesses, we highlight nonprofits, anything that's positive and forward thinking and forward moving. We highlight any of that. That could be from design, interior, furniture, whatever, anything you create, anything that you want to share with the audience or get your name out. So I feel like I'm operating as a conduit of bringing fresh ideas and information to people. So I still feel like I'm in my calling, if you will. I still feel like I'm in that same lane, but it's just I'm not cooking. Like I do have chefs that come on and we talk about it, and people and it's always like they're so just really so sweet to say how I touched them and admired them and. So it's nice. I like it. And the good part about it is I'm home. My mom is 85, so I can be here. I'm not traveling as much because I'm a new GG. And if my daughter needs me, I got to
that part right there. That part.
So I've been blessed. I mean, and it's not oftentimes it's rare that you can kind of land in a space where you can kind of still live your best life, but not at the hectic or the pace. And it works perfectly for me. It is the right pace, the right time. That's how I feel like I'm sitting in the right seat.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And one thing that's really that I look at, and from the outside looking in, you went through a transition.
Most
So what advice would you give somebody that got the career going, everything is going, not necessarily even in TV, even in the limelight, but they had this, they were going good, and then all of a sudden something happens, they have to transition, and they have to reinvent themselves. What advice would you give them if they are going through that?
Actually, when you talk about that reinvention, because oftentimes too, we just came out of a pandemic where a lot of people had to do a pivot or a shift, if you will. So I think it's important that we take the time to sort of don't feel so compelled to be doing something right away. If you're coming from a big life, because I came from a really, really big life, and I realized the sacrifices and the things that came along with that. But at this point, at this season in my life, I don't want to be running hectically like that. I wanted something a little slower pace, but something that I really still enjoyed. So I would just always say, think about what you want to do. Don't be so hasty and move too fast. Know your price, know the time that you want to spend doing it, but also try to remain true. But the most important piece to that is that you have to keep moving. You have to, no matter what you feel, because that little inside voice and that little voice that talks to us all the time is not necessarily saying what we need to hear. So it's important that you stay in the lane of hearing that inner voice and just being still and being comfortable being still with that, and let God just move in you, all through you. Let him talk to you. Just sit with it. And I'm telling you, if you sit with it and you ask God and you be intentional about what you need and you pray big, God will make it happen big.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Because I'm all about the prayer of being of intentionality. Because so many times people say, "Oh, I pray all the time." But what are you praying for, baby? That's why you ain't seeing
Yeah.
nothing happening, because you're not being specific.
You're not being specific. And you may not be thinking big enough,
And I think that might be the biggest thing right there. No pun intended. It's like we might not be thinking big enough, because a lot of times we don't think so big because we don't expect it to happen.
And then we're trying to survive. A lot of times we're in survival mode. So we need to get something happen. We need to get something moving. So, but even in that, there's a reason why you're in that space. Sometimes God has to slow us down to get our attention. And I tell people all the time, I would have not even imagined my life would have been like it has been. I mean, I went through a very big life, and then I made the choice to walk away because I knew that in my heart of hearts, it just wasn't going to heal. And I couldn't do it by myself. And it has to be two willing participants. And I can't save a soul in that regard. You got to want to have the soul to be saved. You got to give it to me a little bit. We can work on it together. But I'm just telling you, I think oftentimes we go through life just trying to appear to be happy, appear to be content, appear, we get caught up in what we're supposed to look like as opposed to how we feel and what's really happening. We want to paint the picture. And that's what social media has done, because they create a narrative for you, and that's not even your story. But you try to rock with it because it's sort of created for you. But you have to have the courage to stop that train yourself and say, listen, this is not what I want to continue to do. This is not working for me. I'm not happy. I'm not healing. I'm not in my best state. So why would you stay?
I love it, because you know what? That sets us up into a great transition of, as Christian women, as business owners, as, let's say, in the namesake of relationships or even friendships. Do you think, as women, do you think we stay there too long, longer than what we should? The writing's on the wall, but do you think we stay there too long because of our titles, because of our expectations of being this woman in leadership? Do
Yeah.
you think we stay too long?
I definitely think we stay too long, and we can stay too long in a lot of our relationships, but specifically in a marriage, especially if the couple is working together. So we have to think about, tearing things up. We think about the family, we think about the kids, but we don't look at the situation. And if you can go in and talk about it, and you have a spouse that is open to conversation, open to do the work, because you got to do the work. You can't just talk about the work. You got to do the work. But it comes down to us just not wanting to start over. The age I am, oh Lord, I put in so much time, so I might as well stay. You can't imagine, people tell me all the time, like, you've been married for 24 years. I mean, at that point, that's most of your life. And I said, but I got some more life to live. It's not my whole life. And I'm going to get the rest of my life. But it's amazing how women say that to me all the time. That was the one thing I really found that was really hard to hear and receive, was that women sort of attacked me for trying to get my happiness. And now we're all about self-care and living our best life. But I was trying to do that back then before it was popular, but I was chastised for it. So I really have to make sure I stand strong on my faith. I asked God how to move, if this is for me. That's why it took so long for me to leave, because I was in turmoil with myself about my decision. And when I'm in turmoil, I needed to be still. So I stayed longer because I was trying to be still to listen to God and let my steps be ordered. So that's why I stayed so as long as I did. But once I got word and once God spoke it to me in my heart, I had to shift.
I love it. I love it, because sometimes we are afraid of the shift. We are afraid
Absolutely.
of.
And it's not, let's be clear, the shift ain't easy. It's real. The shift is not easy. I don't want to minimize, like, I just made this decision overnight. It was not a decision that was made overnight. It was a long-standing tussle within my spirit while I'm smiling and working it. But in my spirit, it was a tussle, and I just got tired of tussling with it, and I had to bring some order to it.
I love it. I love it. I love it, because so many of us are in that space, and we are dealing with that age card. And I tell everybody, you know what? 50 now ain't our mama's 50. It ain't our grandmama's 50.
Come on now. Yeah.
And we don't even look. When I look at pictures of my mom, or even think about when my mom was in her 50s, I'm like, we don't dress like that. We don't drive like that. We don't show up to church like that. Because how many hats you got that you wear in the church?
Right,
I ain't got
exactly.
none.
I haven't had either. I got a little headband every now and then. When we have to wear a hat, I put my little headband on.
Right.
I'm not a hat girl.
And it's like we even serve different. And the opportunities have been open for us. And so, I want to ask you this, because you talk about staying so long. You talk about how you had to transition. But I also want to talk about what we all deal with as women, the weight gain, the change in the lifestyle, because you actually talk about how you made even a lifestyle change in how you eat and how you do that. So what are some tips that you would give to somebody that needs to do that lifestyle change?
Well, let me tell you, I had an older lady, because I'm very big on my older ladies. Like, I go to my mom's. I'm that girl who believes, learn to listen from my elders. I don't like read a lot in that regard. I like to talk and get the wisdom like right in my face. But I remember this church member of mine told me, she said, when you make a big change in your life, you have to get your body up to be able to handle the battle, to be able to take those hits. And that's really why I started working out. And then it just so happened I had the opportunity to work with the George Foreman campaign for the weight loss. And I was just like, well, look at God. Now, he presented this opportunity to me that just includes me. George Foreman did not want to hire us as a team. They just wanted Gina Neely. So it was almost like it was synonymous and seamless. Like she had given me this conversation, and then now God was giving me this gift. So I was like, that's it. That's it. Like it was crystal clear. So I started eating right, and I had to blog about what I ate, how I exercised, the water I drank, got my mind together. I went into therapy. So it was a full, it wasn't just an outside makeover, it was an inside makeover as well, which you can't really see, but hopefully you saw it in my energy and the way I move. But it was more so of a, it was like a peeling of layers, if you will, and then building back, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. I like that because sometimes we overlook what our elders say, and that was some
Oh,
wisdom. That was like 4 words.
let
That
me
was
tell
really
you,
some
honey,
strong
they
wisdom.
used to call me Polly Perry because, honey, I would soak it up. I see what them old folk, I just be in their mouth. And they be sometimes, get out of here, looking at every word coming out of my mouth. Get on out of here. I'd be like, I'd be trying to steer around the corner.
Absolutely,
Because
absolutely.
they've lived the life. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
This is my walking experience right here. This is my walking lesson. And I think oftentimes we just don't look at our elders as for that wisdom and their gift. And that's what food does. When you're making a pot of greens, you're picking greens. That's how I heard my best stories in the kitchen at my great great grandmother's knee. And I watch her stir
Absolutely.
and add seasonings in and, cooking. And she'll tell you, smell that and taste a little of that. That's how I learned to have a love for food. So that, kind of took it over into my life. So that's how I showed love. I love to cook in that way, to feed your meal as an offering to you of my work and my love.
I love it. I love it because I did the same thing with my grandmother. Because I remember when she got sick, I was like, "Girl, you can't be down up here on me," because I would make jokes. They knew I would come in
Yeah.
and just be being. I would just be silly, and said, "Because you ain't taught me how to do pamper serves. You can't be tripping.
Right.
You got to get yourself out this bed."
Listen, and oftentimes we let our elders get away without getting that meat in that lesson. And you
Absolutely.
can't get it back.
Cannot. And it is so, and that's just what makes, I think that is the beauty of those kitchen conversations,
Mhm.
those kitchen, even though I tell everybody I'm not the one that cook, I just show up
Mhm.
because I said if my mom and my brother gonna do it, why I need to do it? Didn't
Because
say I couldn't do it.
but you're adding some seasonings too in there. It may not be stirring the pot, but you're dropping some wisdom, some little
Absolutely.
or gaming, or it's just a change, an exchange of conversation.
Yes, and those are some times that we cannot we just can hold on to and just savor in it. And one thing we got to ask you this too.
But
Are pigs still your favorite item on the
no, I
Okay, good.
I haven't eaten pork in ages. Like when I say I changed my life, I changed my life. I don't even eat pork or beef. So
Look,
yeah, so I don't do pigs anymore. I kept my really special ones, of course,
okay.
like the ones somebody gave me like 14 karat gold, were my really extravagant ones. So I kept those, but the ones I just have like a plentiful pig room,
Mhm, mhm.
and then and other things I donated to charities for auctions so they could raise money for their organization, things that I believe in.
Oh,
Mhm.
that is awesome.
Yeah, but it can't
Awesome.
consider it ain't gonna earn nothing sitting the look.
That,
Honey, you can make some money off of it. Go ahead, honey.
look, thank you. Look, please and thank you. Please and thank you.
Exactly. It's a burden all the way, but they get something good out of it and it helps everybody. The
I
good
love
people
it. I
with
love it. I love it. And I am so excited about what you are doing now because it is such a motivation to other young girls, other young women that aspire to be, on Food Network, on,
Mhm.
on local stations and working because I was sharing with somebody in an interview. I said, I didn't have the Oprahs and I didn't or anybody I could relate to on TV growing up. So
Mhm.
now to see all of these women of color
Mhm.
just popping up everywhere is like
Everywhere.
now our girls don't have to think, oh, and then wait a minute, and all sizes. So our girls don't have to think
And our crowns are our crowns.
that part right there.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
don't have to come on trying to feel a certain look. They can just be the authentic self. And that
Right.
is so great. And I appreciate you for doing that and
And
showing
that's
up in
how
that space.
time has really grown because I can remember when I first started Food Network, they didn't know what to do with my hair. I mean, my skin matched the cabinetry. The lighting had to be changed. So when I say we were like a trailblazer, one of the first for breaking in all of that, and I wore jewel tone colors because I was dark. And I'm not really considered dark to some people, but for them, that was dark. So it's just interesting how colorism and ageism and sexism plays a role in those kind of industries, and it's all about what you look like. So you can easily get caught up in that world. But I thank God that I was always kind of had confidence. Even as a little girl, I was always, just the bubbly one. And Never worried about that. I didn't have those kind of issues, and I tried to make sure I passed that on to my daughters as well. Because see, I have daughters, and it's important for me that
Mm,
my daughters see what healthy love looks like.
absolutely.
I never cried in front of my daughters. I didn't realize I was doing them a disservice until they told me. And I thought about it. I didn't let my girls see me broke, and I was wrong for that because I needed them to see me in every form of my life and way life happens. Because life is just life, and then it unfolds. But I tried to protect them from certain things when I realized I was doing a disservice to them by putting blinders on them because they needed to see so they would know how to handle themselves if need be. They would know what they need to ask for. Open your mouth. A closed mouth does not get fed. He cannot read your mind. Say what you need. Don't vary from this. Your goals are your goals. Your standards are your standards. You don't have to change those for anybody. If they don't measure up, then maybe they're not for you. But just being able to live in the fullness of life and enjoy it in the fullness of it, not certain parts. So we know we always tearing things apart, but in the fullness of life and love. That's love should be exciting. Love should be beautiful. Love, I mean, it does have its moments, yes, but you work through those because you want to get to this other side of that good love. You know?
I love most definitely.
Yeah.
We all want to be loved. We all want to
Absolutely.
be loved.
Absolutely. It's just different for me now because I am a public person. So it's
Hmm.
difficult for me to date, even, to navigate. That. I was dating this guy, was really nice, matched everything, took everything, but he just talked too much. Was telling everybody who he was dating. If I get somewhere, everybody looking for me. I don't like that. Let people just meet me where I am. You don't have to run my resume down to anybody. I don't run my resume down. I don't name drop. Just let people meet me where they are and let me meet them. But it was just always like a big production, and unfortunately this didn't work out because I don't like energy. I don't move that way.
I love it because sometimes it's okay to fly under the radar.
Oh,
Everybody don't have to know your business.
that part. And that was the toughest part because people felt like they knew my business. So they
Mm,
felt like, I mean, essentially they felt like I was a fraud.
mm,
When I was just dealing with what life gave me with the tools that I had at that time. I know better now. I know
absolutely.
better now. I didn't know then. I did the best I could with what I knew then and still kept my mind together. You know what I mean? So I
Hmm.
think we can judge a little too harshly sometimes because you're not necessarily walking in that person's shoes. You may see them for a bit, you see them every day at a certain time on your TV, but you don't truly know that person. You don't know their journey. So allow them some grace, some mercy to get through whatever, but be supportive. If you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say nothing. But of course, now through the world of internet and social media, everybody has an opinion. Everybody. And you just have to tune it out. I'm talking to young girls on the 25th. They say yes to the dress. These are young girls who going to the prom for the first time and they're having dresses supplied to them and they have like nails and hair done. Girls who couldn't afford it normally. So we want to make sure they have a good time. And I just really want to push that whole narrative of know who you are and stand on that. Your no is your no. Your limit
Absolutely.
is your limit. You don't owe anybody anything. You
And,
don't.
and we start to instill that into our young women.
Yes.
Should not, or even if they do make some of the same mistakes that we made, they should start hearing that voice. Like, oh yeah, they did talk to
Yeah,
us about
I
this.
don't. Yeah, I don't want them to think I'm different. I don't
Mhm.
want them to not like me. It's okay, baby. It's okay.
And absolutely,
Yeah.
I love it. I am having so much fun with you, and I'm excited about everything that you're doing. I promise you, don't be tripping if I come to Memphis and I come to the studio and I'm knocking on the door. This
Yeah,
Barbara, let me
I'll be like, come on in. Look, come on, girl. And even in every guest that comes through the door, and they always say, "Oh my God, just meeting you in person is so different. You're so sweet." So, but I like to leave people with a good feeling when they come here, and because you never know what a person is going through
Absolutely.
or what it took for them to even walk through that door.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I want their interaction with me to be a pleasant one. I want to leave a lasting impression. I want them to see the God in me. I don't want to
Mm,
tell them God is in me. I want them to see God in me. I don't want to say I'm a Christian. You will be able to tell by my behavior who I am and whose I am. You know what I mean?
absolutely. And you know what? That brings us to our last question of the evening. When you hear church girl CEO, what does that mean to you?
Church girl CEO.
Yes.
A woman who walks in her fullness and know that she is a child of God and is not ashamed of it. She doesn't allow society to put anything or any labels on her because she knows who she is. She knows who created her. and she know the goodness that's in her heart, and she also know that God will bless you. Because I do good to people, not because I want to do good, that's just how I move, but because I also know that when I give goodness, goodness comes back to me.
I love it. I love it. And you know what? I just want to thank you again for
You're
joining
welcome.
us here in on our show and just making us make history
Yes,
for Women's
yes,
History. Wait a
yes.
minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Let me get the clapper.
Where did I know you didn't have a? I should have known you had a clapper. You have such a good personality. It's not often I find people that match my energy. You're even bigger than me. You have a big person, and that's really good because
Oh,
people, I mean, people gravitate to that. They love it because they don't have that kind of love, and it's a blessing and it's a gift that you're sharing with others, and that's what God wants you to do.
awesome. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. I appreciate you. And again, I thank you. You have been so awesome to grace us with your presence. And y'all know how we do. It's been fun. It's been real, but we got to get out of here. And I love you to life, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Peace.